Ms. Olga, there have been reports that multiple countries are willing to host talks between President Vladimir Putin and Trump. What do you think these talks could potentially mean for the future of the conflict in Ukraine and for the US-Russian relations?
Well, first, what we need to understand that this is a military conflict, not exactly between Russia and Ukraine, but between Russia and the West. And Ukraine is just only used by Western countries to somehow to contain Russia, well, in this more wider geopolitical landscape. And of course, if we take in this equation as a basic line, so we understand that the United States plays a very important role. And for almost these 3 years, the United States as well as the European countries, they supported Ukraine in its fight with Russia. Again, it's not about to help Ukraine, but to make more damage to Russia. And the role of the United States with the new administration, I think it will be critical to the development of this conflict. And it seems that this conflict will come to an end. But the real question here on one conditions or what conditions, because definitely for Russia, it would be the conditions which were announced by Putin many times. And peace negotiations, of course, are possible and they're inevitable, just only considering Russia's interests. And in this kind of military equation, I do not see any ways for Ukraine. So yes, the decision will be between the United States and Russia.
The decision will be between the United States and Russia. Okay, US-elect Donald Trump has indicated his willingness to meet with the Russian President Vladimir Putin to resolve the conflict. What is your assessment of the potential for meaningful dialogue, considering the current status of the war and the stakes for both Russia and Ukraine?
Well, if we take from a diplomatic perspective, as it would be maybe a reasonable way for any new elected president to come maybe to make a state visit or maybe just to invite some world leaders to its residency. Of course, we cannot exclude any meeting between Trump and Putin as two presidents of two greatest countries, two biggest countries at least in the world. And in this case, I do not see why it would not be possible. Because Russia, I believe, welcomes Donald Trump and the vice versa. So, and in this case, so some negotiations will happen and some talks will be happening. And if we take into consideration a previous experience of Donald Trump, not just only his meeting with Vladimir Putin, but his meetings with Kim Jong-un of North Korea.
Okay, can I please ask you here, the war in Ukraine has caused significant shifts in global politics. How has this conflict affected NATO's role in Europe, and what are the long-term security implications for the continent?
Well, I do not see it like a big problem or big change for European continent, except for one reason. Russia cannot accept the idea as Ukraine will be part of NATO. Basically, this is the main reason of this conflict. But this Ukrainian conflict is a part of maybe global conflict, or maybe not even the conflict, but the shift of in geopolitical power or the shift in world order. And in this case, I think we can look at the Ukrainian conflict as the same line with a problem in the Middle East, so in Syria, in Palestine, or even something what is happening in Sahel, in sub-Saharan Africa. So we see all these geopolitical tensions. They are somehow have developed into these global shifts here and there. So, and Ukraine just part of this world map.
Okay, that was Olga Krajnyak, Professor of International Relations, joining us from Moscow. Thank you very much for your insights and, of course, for your valuable informative knowledge.